Hey, what's up, party people? Welcome to a wild and wonderful version of SJU. I'm here with Billy and Eric, my boys. The boys are back in town, and for no better topic than the Snyder Cut. It's gonna be 4 hours of uncut Snyder goodness. So we'll be talking all about that. We're gonna be talking about apparently, I'm reading the script for the first time, a cheaper by the dozen reboot. Woo! Wow, the hits just keep coming. And we'll be taking questions and comments from viewers like yourself, so keep those going in the chat. So let's dive right in, guys, because we only have 4 hours to cover this. HBO Max announced that Zack Snyder's Justice League is coming out Thursday, March 18th. Book it. Might want to set aside some time on Friday, too, if you fall asleep on Thursday. We got a official synopsis, in parentheses, it's very long. Do you guys want me to read the synopsis or no?
Please.
Okay. Well, to get through it, I'm gonna need like a new metal, like dropped E tuning guitar riff. So could one of you do the honors while I read it? In Zack Snyder's Justice League, determined to ensure Superman's ultimate sacrifice was not in vain, Bruce Wayne aligns forces with Diana Prince, with plans to recruit a team of metahumans to protect the world from an approaching threat of catastrophic proportions. The task proves more difficult than Bruce imagined, as each of the recruits must face the demons of their own past to transcend that which has held them back, allowing them to come together, finally forming an unprecedented league of heroes. Now united, Batman, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, Cyborg, and the Flash may be too late to save the planet from Steppenwolf, Desaad, and Darkseid, and their dreadful intentions. All right, that's the. Thank you for that backup. I needed it because that was a long synopsis. Is that technically a synopsis?
That's what they call it in the article, but it does sound like a plot description. So I apologize if anybody.
So yeah, I mean, as we thought that when this was announced that it was going to be a series, the Snyder series, they were going to break it up into chunks and release it across multiple weeks. Now we get all that into one action-packed 4-hour-long cut of goodness. What do you guys think? Would you want that split into episodes, or are you excited to just dive right in?
It was weird. Sorry, Billy, go for it.
No, I was just going to say, look, they can call it whatever they want. They can split it up however they want. I'm not watching this in one sitting, regardless as if it's a show, a movie, a web series, whatever. I will still watch this in 4, maybe 8 parts. I don't know. My time is limited these days, so sitting down for 4 hours, if anything, is just not possible. I don't think it changes anything. For me, it just changes. It's interesting because when you do a series, it's like, I was wondering, it's like, if he planned this as a movie, that means like, did he have to invent like cliffhanger points for all 4 or at least 3 of the parts? But now I'm wondering, like, do you reshuffle it now and it's just like little teeny things that may have been a cliffhanger now are just even not in there, or it's like reversed? I don't know.
Oh, I would love that if like a silhouetted figure steps through the door every half hour and they go, "You?" and then it just fades to black and then it fades back up and then you see who the person was that walked in the door.
Yeah, it's weird because it kept kind of going back and forth, and the more we heard about it, the more it's like, oh wow, like this is obviously not the original plan for the theatrical movie because they're doing these reshoots, they're adding some characters and what sounds like kind of probably cameos, but then it kind of turned into this 4-hour thing, and that they were going to eventize it and release it as 4 episodes. We never knew, by the way, would they release them all at once or like once a week, although I always assumed maybe once a week. So it is interesting that they're changing it fairly close to release back to just one movie. And like Billy said, yeah, I mean, when you edit something, it's like, that would make a difference, right? Like, because you want to have like an exciting out. Do you kind of change that? Did things get, turned around? Because I do remember he was always saying, oh, after the 4 episodes, I want to release it all together, maybe theatrically in IMAX after COVID. So I wonder why they just decided like, oh, let's just do this all at once and sort of, I don't know, get it done with and put it out as this one mega opus.
I mean, I think it should be. I mean, it should be whatever he wants, frankly, because, setting aside the fact that is it to my taste or not, I don't know. We'll see. Probably not given BVS, but I also like Man of Steel. So if the whole conceit behind this is the movie Zack Snyder wanted to make,
right,
why not make a 4-hour movie? I mean, obviously he was constrained by, people's bladders and what cinemas would be willing to put on in their theater. But those limitations don't exist anymore. So if the point of the Snyder Cut is to get the undiluted, pure, uncut Snyderisms, why not settle in for a 4-hour movie? I think that, yeah, like I said, will I watch it all in one sitting? I mean, I'll try. If fate aligns and I have 4 free hours, or I just can't sleep on Thursday night, yeah, why not? But I think that it's cool if the idea is to, like, for better or worse, give him complete free reign over this property and show you what he really envisioned, and that's 4 hours long. I'm all for it. Let's do it that way. I think the eventized episodic one sounded really disjointed and kind of awkward.
Look, Quibi might be dead, but the spirit of Quibi is going to live in this house because I plan to watch this in about 10-minute chunks in between her naps and whatnot. 4 hours of anything. I don't know. I also just am like, I want to see this, but I told Ryan before this started, like, this movie has now become like Chinese democracy of comic book movies. Yeah. Like, I just don't see, like, the hype is just so, like, the story around the movie is almost more interesting than whatever could possibly be cooked up at this point. Like, I almost just want to see the, what was the Apocalypse Now, like, documentary they made with it? That is
Hearts of Darkness.
Yeah, I want to see the Hearts of Darkness for the Snyder Cut more than I really am interested in the Snyder Cut at this point.
By the way, I was laughing in my head about the fact that some people don't know Chinese Democracy is a Guns N' Roses album and might think you're just making socio-political,
No.
Or Dr. Dre's Detox. There's lots of albums of
right.
when they made albums that throughout the 90s and 2000s were rumored to come out. And yeah, Chinese Democracy it's got like a couple good songs on it, but no, it was not the earth-shaking revelation.
Right. I mean, it was like what, like well over 10 years, right?
Yeah. I think it was a solid decade. Yeah.
Anyways, wait, we're getting sidetracked. What are we talking about?
Snyder Cut.
Why do you think that they did the switch so close to the release date? Do you think that he had an episodic cut and WB watched it, or he watched it and said this isn't working, or do you think there's some sort of alternative explanation?
With all due respect, I really think we're very far past the this isn't working phase of the Snyder Cut. Like, it's an oncoming train at this point. Like, I don't think you sink more money into anything else with this thing. Again, no disrespect, but it's a dead end because this is not the direction that they've indicated that this cinematic universe is continuing in. So I don't know. This makes no sense to me in the sense of, like, I think what Disney has done with Mandalorian and now with WandaVision is, they've kind of gone back to this, like, benching everything gets you the conversation that weekend, but then people move on. But it's like WandaVision and Mandalorian were trending every single Friday. I don't know why you wouldn't want that with Snyder Cut. That being said, we've been talking about this damn thing for 4 years, so maybe nothing can kill the conversation.
I have like 2 theories on what might have contributed to it, and because ultimately maybe it was just him saying, "Hey, I think it's better as one movie." But also, I think there are 2 things, which is, one, there's so much swirling around this with, like, the Ray Fisher situation. And how do you do press for this? It's going to be interesting to see if Snyder's doing interviews. There's going to be a lot of delicate things to have to kind of deal with. And maybe they felt like 1 release is better than 4 releases, like, in sort of just a strange situation with, like, all the personalities involved and all the situation. And then I also wonder if maybe it had to do with the fact that they made the decision after the Snyder Cut was announced that they were going to release all their movies on HBO Max this year. And suddenly Godzilla vs. Kong got moved up to March. They pushed it back 5 days, I think, just to give it a little more breathing room after this. But I think suddenly they had something else they needed to really contribute a lot of their resources to, which is all these big movies. So, Snyder comes out on the 18th, and then the 31st, Godzilla vs. Kong comes out on HBO Max. So maybe it's also that, just being like, okay, well, we've got these other kind of tent poles we didn't know going in that we were going to have, to deal with.
Smart. Weird. It's kind of that doesn't fit this show. That's too smart. And I also like what Billy said about it being a dead end as far as creatively. Like, this is setting up a universe, or I assume they don't take out Darkseid at the end of this one, and Steppenwolf and whoever else they throw in there. Like, DCEU has moved on. Even if this is a massive hit, the development slate of these DC movies is like steering the Titanic. Like, even if it's such a massive success that they're like, come on back, Zach, we're doing it your way, and like greenlight 7 different movies in the Snyderverse, it'll be 5 years before we see the first one. So
Right.
yeah, tricky business. That maybe they don't want it to take up too much of the conversation. And speaking of Titanic, what do you guys think about super long movies in general? I mean, I think Titanic is fantastic. Endgame was up there. Do you think that it's the people are complaining like a little too much, and if the movie's good, you don't care how long it is?
It seems like the length thing is a moot point when you're watching at home. Like, a movie could be any length you want because you are kind of in control. A theater, I don't think the theater owners would let it be 4 hours, because you get like, 3 or 4 shows a day. Like, that would just be shooting yourself in the foot. But at home, it could be as short or as long as the movie needs to be, because like I said, whether this thing is 2 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours, like, I'm going to control how much of it I watch at a certain time.
Yeah, I think it is case by case, because even though theatrical, it's like people complain when movies are too long, and then like the biggest hits ever, like Avatar, Titanic, Endgame, are all like pushing 3 hours or over 3 hours. So people will go if they're into, and they'll go multiple times, as we've seen, if they're into the story, like with all those movies, or just into the world of it. I think it's all like, the kind of movie is a big factor too. And, there's a reason, like if I see a comedy is over 2 hours, I'm instantly wary, there's something about like, well, that doesn't sound right. But, and there can be exceptions, of course, to that too. But yeah, with these superhero things, I mean, even like a lot of the, Avengers movies were starting to push like closer to 2.5, whatnot. And so most of the time they feel like they earn it. And sometimes you feel like that could have been 10 minutes shorter. So I do think it's a case by case, but I think people do over complain about length when you look at the box office that some of those movies have brought in, that, people were perfectly willing to either have to hold their pee or just get up and pee a couple times. If they're just totally into it. At the same time, like, yeah, there's a reason like Judd Apatow's like director's cuts. I'm always like, he makes funny movies, and then he like has 10 minutes too much anyway. And then when he adds 20 more minutes, you're like,
no. The riffing was just too good.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that also this is a factor of Zack Snyder knowing that this is probably his last chance to play in this universe. So he's got to say everything he has to say and get everything out there and leave it all out in the field. So that makes the cuts all the more painful. I like long movies. One of my favorite movies is Casino, and it zips by. I couldn't tell you why certain movies feel shorter than their length. I guess, yeah, Wolf of Wall Street. So a lot of Scorsese movies are super long and yet took down in one sitting, no problem. Batman v Superman, not to harp on it, felt longer than its runtime for me. There was a lot of ponderous navel gazing and explanation, and that either works or it doesn't. So we'll see how hard he hit the philosophy books this time, and how long he'll hold our interest.
If he cut out all the slow-mo, it'd probably be like a half hour shorter.
Just speed it up. Anyways, thank you guys for watching to this point, or hate commenting if you're in the Snyder Army. Subscribe to our channel for more. Hit that like, hit that bell, and you'll never miss another one. We're doing Honest Trailers commentary tomorrow for tomorrow's Honest Trailer. Won't spoil that. And come back on Friday for WandaVision Episode 5 review with Roth and Eric. That should be a good one if Episode 4 was an indication. So, moving on to the most important movie news of the day. Sorry. Cheaper by the Dozen is getting a reboot, and we're talking about it.
I like Cheaper by... So this is a story. I feel like I could tell it now because I don't work there anymore. When I worked at Wizard World, there was one day, it was like a really busy Saturday at the convention, and I left something in my hotel room, and I went back to my hotel room, and I left the TV on, and Cheaper by the Dozen was on, and I just caught it where Steve Martin said something really funny. I sat there for 2 hours and watched the whole movie before I went back to work at the convention.
It's more about your job than it does the movie.
I don't know. It was charming, and that little kid was just so precious. The little redheaded kid. I like
who else is precious? Zach Braff and Gabrielle Union. They're precious. And they're heading to Disney Plus. Disney revealed Gabrielle was starring in the project back during their big Investor Day presentation. And now word has come that Braff is joining as well. Wow. Steve Martin to Zach Braff. Upgrade, downgrade?
Steve Martin is kind of I think he's my favorite comedic actor of all time. So it's got to be downgrade by default. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I love
right
Scrubs, but
yeah, come on. All right. The movie centers on a blended family of 12 navigating a hectic home life and their family business. Comes from Kenya Barris of Blackish, Coming to America, and Black AF fame. So he's good. He's made some good quality family programming. The prompt. You guys ready for this?
Ready.
Now that we know the parents, can we come up with a dozen child actors to make up the kid cast?
I want to see if you guys.
I don't think I know any child actors.
Yeah, who do you think we are that we're like, we know the hottest kids of the day?
The only answer I prepped for this was just, and it says blended family, so I'm assuming that means like they already had kids and they got married. So I'm just like, let's just take all the kids from Stranger Things, just every one of them.
Okay, so you get
from 11 to Erica to you get a Finn Wolfhard.
Finn Wolfhard, I know his name. Yeah.
How old is Jaden now? Is he aged out of being a dozen?
I don't know. He'll be like forever 12 in my forever
Right.
Karate Kid age in my mind.
I'm putting Jaden in there.
Okay, Finn
That's
Wolfhard.
a name I know.
Well, because Tom
Jaden's 22,
Welling was
so I'm
pretty old when he
saying
did
no.
it.
I'm saying no on
You're saying
22.
no?
Yeah, I guess he's. I did put child passing in the script, so he could pass. So, yeah.
And
So,
looking
all
up,
right.
Gabrielle Union is 48. She could have a
Yeah, that's fair. All right, he could be like the
2-year-old, right?
college kid or like the senior in high school or something. They have to span all ages. I think that's
Okay.
fair.
Yeah.
How
So
many Stranger
the
Things
eldest, Jaden Smith, and then 11 and Finn Wolfhard, and we're just gonna put the other Stranger Things.
Then
kids.
and then David Harbour
that gets
for
us
some
to
reason.
that gets us to 6. So we need 6 more. I'm gonna say Macaulay Culkin, who's the only child actor I can think of.
How about Jake Lloyd? I think he can always pass as just shave his little angry beard, and he can be. he
Jake
can have
Lloyd.
a.
With a
Elijah
shaved
Wood.
angry beard. And Elijah Wood.
But no, come on.
Now we're
three good
at
boys?
9.
Throw in all 3 good boys.
3 good boys? Oh, the good boys.
Oh yeah, the good
yeah,
boys.
the good boys.
Okay, then the 3 good boys. I think we did it. We have Jaden Smith, 11, Finn Wolfhard, the other Stranger Things kids, Macaulay Culkin, Jake Lloyd, sans shaved angry beard, Elijah Wood, and the 3 good boys. That takes us to 12. I hope
And
you're
if
excited.
that needs to be the on-screen credits, by the way. It's contractual.
Starring the 3 good boys. And Zach Braff. How do I keep track of all these kids? They're not good boys at all.
It's funny how like they decided Disney after they acquired 20th Century Fox to just take any like kid or family property they had and just be like, let's just make a Disney Plus thing with it.
Yeah,
Like that's like we don't need to do theatrical, but
kids
cheaper
love
by the
cheaper
dozen.
by the dozen. Yeah.
why not?
And adults, Spencer. Don't sleep on it. I'm still look. I don't care what anyone says. The other 20th Century Fox one that people are like, ugh. I'm like, I thought it was delightful. Was Daddy Daycare. I watch Daddy Daycare like once a year. I think that shit's hilarious.
As long as you're not a
had
Daddy Day Camp fan.
I've never seen Camp, but Care, 2 thumbs.
There's Chat had a couple suggestions too, which I'll put in there. McKenna Grace, Tom Holland, the kid from Jojo Rabbit, Broom Kid.
Broom Kid.
And, yeah, and so yeah, that's the kid from Florida Project, and
she's great.
That's all. Oh, Darla from Shazam. So that's the one that.
Great, yeah. I love. It's a lot of the kid from, and I agree. I hope that's how they're billed in in the poster.
I want like a new segment of like Billy reviews family films. Like,
Love family films. My favorite genre.
that'd be
Like
Eric,
hard stop.
kids to watch. Okay, let's move on from Eric's list of children and go to your question.
That's not correct terminology.
List of children Eric meticulously keeps. And let's take your questions. Stephen H. writes, okay, now the hard-hitting stuff. Now it's time to really talk movies.
Okay.
What type of cheese is best? What's the best kind of cheese, you guys?
Why do we do this show anymore?
You'll have to submit that as a different fan question.
All right. I'm gonna get real with you guys.
All right.
So cheddar for your basics. I'm just a cheddar guy, but I do love at Spaghetti Factory the Mazithra cheese, which is like a saltier cheese you can get on your spaghetti, and you can buy Spaghetti Factory branded Mazithra cheese in supermarkets. We have it here at Ralph's, I've discovered, and it's very exciting for me to because I'm not going to Spaghetti Factory these days. You might
Mazithra sounds like something from like The Mummy. That's like a cool ass cheese name.
Mazithra. Yeah. There you go. That's my my hot tip.
Okay, coming in hot with the Mazithra. Billy, favorite cheese?
Man, I've kind of had to stop the cheese in the last year or so. Like my lactose has gotten so bad, like I'll just be in pain. So I guess the one that I miss the most is just straight up mozzarella, just fresh mozzarella, but
fresh mozz.
Can't really partake anymore, sadly.
That's a bummer. Wow.
Yeah.
Dang, my heart goes out to you. That's terrible. No more pizza?
Yeah, you can do vegan cheese, but it tastes pretty rough. Yeah, it's pretty brutal.
Yeah. For me, it's Brie time, baby. You're in Brie town. I love a triple cream. Get a couple crackers, take down that wedge. You're in business. All right, moving on from cheese.
I can talk for hours.
How tall is the tallest person or animal you would fight?
These are not
there
the
are
real
movie questions, but I'd rather get these out of the way first and then like wind down with the movie question.
Rephrase the question. What is it?
How tall is the tallest person or animal you would fight? He tagged at Fandom Entertainment. He tagged at Fandom Entertainment, but I don't know if he means person you would fight at Fandom Entertainment or if it's just
no, he's just tagging us in the chat. That's just the copy and paste. Yeah, no. So what's your height, I guess, cutoff, like roller coaster style, but the opposite of like who you would fight?
I guess I'm not taking on anyone taller than like 6'2". Like
it's a good number.
Yeah, I think anything past that, I'm really, I'm playing the odds.
I mean, height's a weird measurement because, like, like Stephen Merchant, right? The Office co-creator, he's 6'7", but I think I could like karate chop his leg and he would completely tumble. And same with animal, like I could probably wreck a flamingo, but like not anything else that was like not a gorilla. So I think height is, you got to go on more than one factor for me. But I would say Stephen Merchant and a flamingo would be my
You could not take a flamingo.
I could take a flamingo.
Flamingos are scary as hell, dude.
Neck. Yeah,
I think I put you in a room with a flamingo, I think your tune changes, my friend.
If I can sneak up behind it, it's over. I'm sticking to I'll go with your Billy, like 6'2"-ish. I'm 5'9". It's like, I can't reach much higher. So yeah, that's my cutoff.
Okay, so there's your height. Okay, back to some movie and TV questions. This is a good, useful one. Hey, Craig writes, what's the least amount of Marvel movies you'd have to watch to get WandaVision? Like, what would be your homework for actually understanding what's happening in WandaVision?
I've been answering this on Twitter a couple times. I actually was thinking I should just do this tweet for everyone, so I'm not just answering people. I think it's 4 because I think it's the one Scarlet Witch are in, right? I think it's your Age of Ultron, Civil War, Infinity War, and Endgame. And I said my extra credit was Captain Marvel. I know then people instantly were like, and the first two Thor movies and Ant-Man and the Wasp. I'm like, I don't think those,
you don't need to know they are.
You don't need those. Captain Marvel feels a little more like they're telling you a little bit more, like Monica's got her focus. It just feels like you should watch that, but that's still extra credit. I think the 4 movies that, if you looked up which ones are Elizabeth Olsen in, not including Winter Soldier, where she had a cameo, I think those would be good for your prep.
But you need the first Avengers though, right? Because I think it's also saying like, because you can't go clean into Ultron.
Yes, you can.
But
you can.
You could.
All right.
Because the thing is, well, the one thing that Age of Ultron does have for it that doesn't get enough credit is like it's the only movie where the Avengers are a team the entire time. So you could just like walk into the movie and be like, okay, I get that this is the team, and you figure out who's who throughout the whole thing. You don't need to know how they got there.
Yeah, and it's funny because I when I was doing this on Twitter, having this conversation, it's like I totally understand people wanting to add more, but I'm also like, these are a lot of people who have not watched any or maybe watched the first couple more movies, and I feel like once you get past 4 or 5, it starts to get a little crazy because you're like, just watch these 10 and you're good to watch this TV show. So I feel like stick to the Olsens and maybe Captain Marvel.
That's a nice slim package you can do to get up to speed. Good. That useful information buried under all the cheese and flamingo fights. Furthermore, okay, James Bond asks, other than the Snyder Cut, what modern movie would you like to see a Mank-style behind-the-scenes movie made about its production?
Other than the Snyder Cut?
I mean, the Snyder Cut is it's hard to think of anything else.
Yeah.
Man, I would love to see that.
I'm gonna cheat and do a TV show of recent history, which is I've always wanted to get more about like the making of Community, which I love, but which just had such crazy behind the scenes stuff and how many nights they were there till 4 a.m. because of last minute rewrites. Sort of unprecedented that the showrunner was fired. Well, that's happened once in a while, but then brought back because of the cast kind of revolted that they had different showrunners. So, and Chevy Chase quitting and being fired, who knows, and Donald Glover quitting. There's just a lot there about this wacky comedy that I'd like to see the story behind.
Yeah, I'd go Blade Trinity. I mean, I know the story's been told, but I'd like to see that on screen with Wesley Snipes as himself, hotboxing a trailer and only communicating through a Post-it note.
And refusing to take his sunglasses off.
Yes.
I'll go Batman Forever. Going from the biggest thing ever, and now you have to go a whole new direction, and your Batman and your director don't get along, your Riddler and Two-Face don't get along. Yeah, I would like to see that.
Oh yeah, just the Jim Carrey and Tommy Lee Jones of it all. That would be
just
fantastic.
all of it. Yeah.
Apparently
it got borderline Post-it notey between Val Kilmer and Joel Schumacher. There's rumors that they traded some blows, which or at least Val Kilmer may be, in one of those Hollywood urban legends, might have tried to take a swing, but you never know with those things. But that's why I need to see the movie.
What is that hysterical that Tommy Lee Jones quote to Jim Carrey about
I cannot sanction your buffoonery.
Yes.
Sanction your buffoonery. That's
unsanctioned buffoonery is a huge risk around here at SJU.
For the Josh Trank Fantastic Four is also in the chat.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
It's gonna be sad.
That's a good one.
All right, 2 more. One on topic, and then the next I think is the most important question we've ever been asked. So first, Jim 1 asks, do you have any picks or choices for the next James Bond after Daniel Craig?
No. I don't.
None. You're not like, oh, Tom Hardy. It's got to be.
I'm not a big James Bond guy. I enjoy a handful of them, but that's more of just like I take it at face value. So I'm sure whatever they serve up, I'll be like, neat. I'll see it eventually, but I don't sit there and obsess over like who could be that. I just assume every actor is British now that I see, so they could be.
I am giving this a terrible segment. I'm sorry by just saying the same thing. Yeah, I'm with you, Billy. Like I enjoyed those movies, but I've never been able to be a Bond head. So yeah, I have no strong feelings on. I'm sorry, Jim. I'm sorry.
I'm a light Bond head. I mean, I think like Riz Ahmed would be an interesting choice from Nightcrawler and The Night Of and stuff like that. I also thought that before his resurgence and mainstream acceptance, I thought that Robert Pattinson would be a fun, different take on Bond, as just like a little younger, a little scrawnier, and a little more, a little bit of a better actor. So I think that,
and a little weirder.
Yeah, a little weirder, exactly. And Tom Hardy is like kind of the leader in the clubhouse, I think, and that's also a different enough take that I'd be interested in it. But those would be my top 3. But I guess we did the wrong question because none of us are huge Bond heads.
Look, if it's Tom Hardy and he jumps into a lobster tank, I'm in.
Well,
so that's what
when do you see the lobster tank they have for Venom 2? It's the entire movie is him going from tank to tank in an aquarium trying to cool off. Okay, finally, Rob Turner writes, and we'll end on this. Would you rather have a teapot that produces infinite marshmallows or live in Greenland with William H. Macy? Discuss. You get one choice. Infinite marshmallows or life in Greenland with William H. Macy. And Billy, We all know you're.
Yeah,
you
I feel
guys
like
have history.
the deck is stacked against me on this one. Does William H. Macy have a choice? Like, can he
Yeah, I assume
refuse-
he's waiting for a companion, and you.
Oh,
you-
well, then
Already
I
opt-
guess
he's already
I
opted in. We talked about it.
I have to take Teapot. There's no way after the room clearing fart that I bestowed upon him.
Wait,
like
is
he,
this a true thing? I didn't know.
Oh, you missed. He's told it a couple times on SJU. One more time for the people in the back. Billy.
all right, this is the last time. This is the final time I'm gonna
Everyone mark
play
this
this
down
greatest
for
hit.
future reference. It's at the end of this episode.
It was TCA's. It was the Showtime day. I was an intern at the time. We had Joey from Friends in our room doing press for Extras or whatever show he was on. I can't remember now. And I had eaten the supplied lunch at catering. It was very tasty. There must have been cheese in it. Maybe that's where this all started because I was sweating pretty profusely trying to hold in a fart, and when you're doing just such a closed in space, you're just like and then people look at you like, hey, you're ruining the thing. So I was just like sweating bullets, and at that point they were like, oh, we need to change tape. I was like, thank you Christ. So I walked out into the hallway, I closed the door, and just like a freaking 9.5 on the Richter scale, just like a tummy grumbler for all time. Just it was like when Sauron is defeated and that big wave just takes out all of his army, and I was just like I was like ah, and I look over to my left and William H. Macy's on the phone, and he's just like yeah, no, that's fine, and then just like walked off. I was like, shit, like I traded Joey from Friends for William H. Macy. So I think since he knows the full firepower of my Death Star, I think he's not gonna, he knows that I'm fully operational. I think I'm gonna have to go Teapot because there's no way that he would live with me after that.
All right, guys, that's our show. Thank you so much for watching. Billy, Eric, appreciate it, you guys. You guys are the best, and we will be back with commentaries tomorrow and another SJU on Wednesday. See you then. Bye-bye.